All right, before we get started on this episode, I want to say point blank, thank you. You guys overwhelmingly said you wanted to see the passenger side, and I had to do it anyway, so I might as well video it and put it out there. But your comments and input, that's a lot of what keeps me motivated. So thank you very much. We had comments not only from the 6 of you that watch this channel regularly, but we had comments from the occasional viewer that never comments. And I love that. I want everybody's comment. So thank you very much. All right, boys and girls, I told you at the end of the last video that I would show you the finished product of that video, and I'm not going to go against what I said I was going to do, so I'm going to do that. But there are a few things you need to keep in mind before I show you this. One, I am not a professional welder. I'm just a guy that went to the local hardware store and bought a welding machine. And B, I realize this ain't pretty. But I'm not worried about it being pretty. All I want is to make sure that it's gonna hold. And I think that's gonna hold. 3, there's probably several pinholes up in there that need to be addressed, but later in life, we're gonna knock down some of that bubble gum and we're gonna seam seal all of these welds that are on the floor of this cab. But we ain't doing that today. C, we need to point out that this factory metal is 19 gauge metal. Of course, we are welding 16 gauge into it, but it's not a full 19 gauge. Up here, it's got rust on the metal, which means that metal's already thinner than that 19 gauge, so that makes it more difficult. Sometimes you get up there and do a little tack weld and it creates a new hole, and then you got to fix the hole. So that's a large part of why some of this is uglier than it should be. Other parts of it look really good, so it's give and take. But most importantly, you can critique my welding all you want. The bottom line is, I don't care. I told you guys we were going to do something a little different on this side.
Hey, you're getting ahead of yourself. You need to go back.
You see, boys and girls, back in the day, sometimes when a man really loved a woman, they would come together and form what was called a little mini trip.
Whoa, not that far back.
Fine, let's make some patterns. Most people use poster board to make their patterns with, but going to Walmart or Dollar General honestly ranks right up there with getting a root canal. And I usually have a few of these laying around, so we're going to use these. Plus, this tends to be a little bit thicker compared to poster board from like Dollar Store or whatever. I don't know about Walmart because I refuse to go there unless I absolutely have to. But we'll get us some patterns made and then we'll figure it out from there. Look at that beautiful board. All right, I said we were going to do something a little different on this side because I learned a little bit from the driver's side. So on the passenger side, I went and got a piece of wood, some OSB, and we're going to lift our metal up just a little bit to create a gap over that pipe that otherwise might not be there. I don't know. Cross your fingers. Hope for the best. We've got our cardboard here. There's where your trial and error comes into play. That's closer to what we're looking for. Oh yeah, that's what we're looking for. Well, I missed that mark entirely, didn't I? I screwed up whenever I cut that out. I might have to fill that back in from the inside. Yeah, if I extend that just a little bit, I cut that curve. Now, I am sure that this got edited out, but I did score each end of where the brakes need to go, and I also scored that one. Of course, this brake is going that direction, this brake is going the opposite direction, so no big deal. Alright, so I turned my metal around because I wasn't getting the results that I wanted. Oh yeah. Well, it's going to be impossible to find out because you haven't bent that up yet. Dadgummit. I bet I got that just barely in the wrong spot. Barely my butt. That's totally in the wrong spot. I missed that considerably. But I'll tell you this, we ain't about to start over. Nope. Let's try it again. Only this time, let's put it in the right spot. There's an idea. That is so jacked up now. All right, I got the wife to help me hold it so that so that I could get it clamped down in the right spot. I don't think the hammering moved it. I think I just didn't put it in the right spot the first time. But just in case, I put an extra C-clamp and tightened it up some more. And let's see what we can do. I'll be there eventually. Forgot to trim that corner right there, and that don't work in that curve. Well, let's see how bad we messed up. We did not go far enough out here. We need to take some more off. Where's my Sharpie? That have angles, but this one needs the most taken off. Maybe that to a degree as well. And then we'll try it again. So sit tight, I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. So we got our cover plate And for the most part, I think that's going to work really well. It's just a matter of putting some downward pressure here and there and getting it done. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on. Can I tell them this part now?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Now that we've got our plate fitting pretty decently and it's in the proper spot, I told you guys we were going to do something a little different on this side. And we started with that piece of wood that's still under there right now. But the other thing we're going to do different is, if you'll notice, we waited to cut this out until the plate was in place. And the reason for that is the fact that now we know how much to cut out, as opposed to guessing like we did over there and ended up with spots like this that's not quite covered. So now that we know exactly what needs to be cut out, it'll be a lot easier for us to get it cut out. Does that make sense? Probably not. I got the wrong glasses on. Don't forget those are up there. Now, another thing that I learned from the passenger or the driver's side is that I didn't get that metal clean enough before I welded it over there, and that created a situation where a lot of times it felt like the gas wasn't turned on to the welder. So I got this cleaned up considerably better than what I did so on the other side. I'm going to hammer that in. That's better. Alright, so here's where we're at right now. I am not unhappy with that. I am going to have a whole bunch of filling to do over here, so expect some bubble gum. There is a gap here, but I'm hoping majority of that can be taken up by bringing the floor up to meet our panel. Hopefully we don't have to beat our panel down to it, because it's not going to move because it's welded there, and there is a slight gap right here. So there's going to be some filling in this panel, and that's going to end up looking a lot like bubble gum, but we'll scrape all that off and seam seal it later in life after we get it done. Tell you what, give me a couple hours and come back and check in on me. Alright, so unless I watch this video back and find something I can't live with, then we're going to call this done. Areas like this, That's still hot. Areas like this look like there's a gap there, but it's a shadow created from the light up above. Overall, it's not pretty, but I bet it holds. I had to end up building this up, and we ended up with some heat distortion right here. That's because the transmission cross member runs across right here, so I couldn't get the jack underneath it to pop that spot up. But I can live with that, especially considering it's the floor. It's going to get covered up, whether it be some type of bed liner material or carpet and insulation, whatever happens, this will get covered up. So, alright, so the title of this video is Every Solution Creates a New Problem. Let me explain to you exactly what that means. Alright, if you remember when we put our exhaust pipes together, we picked out a spot that's about right there where we're going to put our bunghole. But we did not install the bungholes as of yet, which is a good thing because we had to cut the floor out because the exhaust was sitting halfway above the floor. So now that we have this solution to that problem, cutting the floor out, putting a plate over it, the plate's covering the area where the bunghole needs to go, and there's not enough room for an O2 sensor to get there. So we got to come up with a new solution to that. Every solution creates a new problem. Unfortunately, the current problem is my bunghole. Peace, love, and mini trucks.